What's going on, guys? I'm Tommy, and I'm coming at you with an action figure review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Hasbro the Black Series Princess Leia Organa from Episode 4, A New Hope. This figure came as a bit of a surprise to myself and many others as it was being re-released, but it seems that Hasbro is redoing all of the A New Hope main cast for the Black Series right now, and I'm here for it, to be honest. This particular version of Leia is probably going to end up on my Rogue One display. I'm going to probably display her with the hood up, but that might change depending on if it looks good or not in the figure, which we will be checking out in this review. I got this figure on a pre-order through Big Bad Toy Store. That's the place I go for almost all of my action figure pre-orders and other orders, and I think they're a great service, a good US-based smaller business for action figures. If you're a collector, I think you'll definitely like them. This figure was a mainline release for the Black Series for technically 2025. I know some people were finding this wave of figures in late 2024, but here we are. I'm reviewing it for you today. This figure comes in the standard packaging for the Black Series right now. You have your Black Series logo up top, a nice big plastic window showing you the figure and her accessories. You have in vertical text the character's name, as well as that she is number 8 in the A New Hope subline. Underneath the window, you do have in that orange banner, again representing the A New Hope subline, the name of the movie, and then down at the bottom some of your logos and legalese. On this side of the packaging, you do have your mural art here for the character. I think this is great. I love the Tantive 4 hallway in the back, and I think this actually really looks good as a young Carrie Fisher. And of course, down at the bottom, you have your name of the character, and then on the back of the box, you have a lot of your same stuff we saw on the other sides, your Black Series logo, that same mural image we saw on the side of the box, blown up a bit, the character's name, and a bio in about 1,000 different languages. This bio reads, daughter of Padme Amidala and Anakin Skywalker, sister of Luke Skywalker, and with a soft spot for scoundrels, Leia ranked among the galaxy's greatest heroes. They reiterate here again, she's number 8 for the A New Hope subline. You have a lot of your legalese down here, guys. Please don't feed this action figure to your babies. On this side of the box, you have the window that wraps around, as well as your Black Series logo again. On the bottom of the box, even more legalese, and on the top, nothing. That about wraps it up for the packaging here. Why don't we get her opened and we'll check her out. Alright guys, here is Leia out of the box. Before we check the figure out, of course, we're going to check out her accessories first. One thing really interesting about this figure, she comes with, this is the older sculpt for the E11 blaster rifle. I think this is really cool that they went ahead and gave her the bigger blaster rifle, the more original trilogy specific one. It's got that little subtle silver paint application there on the center, and then of course, this is a great accessory. I think it's good to give her the larger blaster because she does use this in the Death Star escape, and I think it's a great accessory to give her, and I'm glad that they went with the original trilogy specific one as opposed to the new media one. And then of course she does also come with her other blaster pistol. We only see her use this in the very beginning of the movie, but it's very nice to get this in the line again as well. Just done in some nice gunmetal sculpted plastic, some nice sculpted detail. No paint apps whatsoever, it is what it is. And then of course you get the swappable hood piece. This looks like we're gonna have to pop her head off to get this on, but I think this has some nice sculpted detail. It's looking like her space buns are going to fit nicely into the hood, so I think we'll have to see how that looks in just a moment here. And here is our Leia figure here. So first things first, obviously, taking a look at the likeness. I don't know if this is just me, but is it? I think this right eye is a little bit off center here. It's not a huge deal, so I can just, pose her off, at an angle, but I think one of those eyes is a QC issue. I don't know. Looks a little off to me. I think I might be right. I think that right eye is just a little bit too close to the nose. Not a huge deal, but again, a little bit of a bummer there. It does look like Carrie Fisher, though. I think it's a very good likeness. They did the sculpting on the hair very nicely. I think this looks really true to the movie. And then, of course, you have the belt, which has some nice silver paint applications. A lot of them are hidden underneath the rubbery overlay that kind of makes up the top of the torso here. But again, it is what it is. but you know, if you pose her around a certain way, you will be able to see them just fine. The bottom of the skirt here is a really nice rubbery plastic here. I really like what they've done. It looks really nice, and it feels good too. I'm unfortunately, you know, no matter what you do, this is going to kind of suck. It's going to be a little bit of a traffic cone, just because when you try to get her maybe into that crouching pose where she's putting the Death Star plans into R2 or something like that, it's just not going to look great because these are just going to be flared out and they're not going to, you know, work with gravity how soft goods do. But that's what the Archive Leia figure is for. So if you want the Archive Leia figure, you can do that. Have the soft goods. This one is meant to be more of a sculpted plastic. I really like the hood piece. This is the interchangeable hood piece where it hangs down. I think this is a great look as well. They've done a really good job sculpting the kind of draped clothing here. I think they've done a great job. And then of course you have your boots down here. Those look really nice, have some nice detail. I've heard a lot of discourse. These are older legs. These are reuse from an older Leia figure. And they do have the pinned double-jointed knees, but that's not actually the issue people have. The issue a lot of people are having is that they didn't paint them the flesh tone. They just did them in white. And if you know Leia from A New Hope, she didn't have leggings on under here. It was just bare legs. So I think that's something that kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And then, of course, you know, the sleeves look good too. But aside from that, this is a very basic figure. But again, it's an extremely iconic look because it's from the very first Star Wars movie. And now, I think without further ado, it's, you know, time to check out the articulation. So she's got some new and some old here. So she does have the kind of, I guess, barbell jointed neck. There's a ball joint at the top of the neck and a ball joint at the bottom. So she can get some nice down there. She can look up a little bit. I kind of wish she could look up just a little more because, I mean, she's shorter than a lot of characters. So she's looking up a lot. And then, of course, you got some nice tilt and some right and some left. She has some butterfly joints here that work pretty nicely. They don't have crazy range just because of that overlay, but they do have some range there. The shoulders have a hinge and swivel. So the hinge gets you to just shy of 90 degrees. And you do have a 360-degree swivel, some deep cut single jointed elbows, which gets you well past that 90-degree mark, which is awesome. There's also a swivel at the top of the elbow there too. And then she's got some hinge and swivels at the wrists. So she's going to have the vertical hinge with the trigger finger in the right hand, and she's got the horizontal hinge at the left hand there. She does have a ball joint at the waist, kind of like how I showed earlier to show off those paint apps. That's got some really nice range. And then, of course, these move out of the way really nicely. They are very malleable, and I do appreciate that. And we do have some ball joints at the hips. I will say the clothing does move out of the way pretty nicely. However, again, like look at how I'm bending the knee here. This just goes straight out. And that's my problem with the sculpted plastic. Just a personal preference. I do have a cut for a thigh swivel here, which is great. And there are some pinned double jointed knees, so she can almost kick her own butt, which is awesome. Some great range there. Too bad you can't really use it and make it look good. Well. But again, we have some forward-facing pin for rockers down here at the ankles, as well as some really nice forward and some really nice back as well. Overall, for what this figure is, it's got some really good articulation. I think they've done a great job of kind of trying to find the balance between articulation and while keeping the look of the figure faithful. So now we've taken a look at Leia. Now we'll take a look at her accessories here. So the hood is the one I'm most interested in. So this head does pop off very easily. It looks like there is actually like a barbell joint, yeah, in the neck that pops out with the head. That's interesting. And so then looks like we can just slide the hood off here. That's actually a really taut connection there, which is great. Oh, there's a little bit of an indent here in the hood pieces, and that's so the collars attach into this little divot in the back of the neck. So we're gonna pop the other one on here, and yeah, you can kind of feel it like fix into place. And then we have Ghost Leia, and then what you got to do, I guess, is pop the head back in. Which, that actually worked really nicely. I thought that was going to be a lot more difficult than it ended up being, and actually, that looks really nice. For being sculpted plastic, for not being soft goods, this turned out really nicely. And I gotta give Hasbro props for this fun little bit of engineering here. This is a great accessory. And honestly, we're gonna leave her like this for the rest of the review because this is how she's gonna go on my shelf. As for her blaster pistol, obviously she's not gonna have any weapon storage for either of these because she didn't have a holster in the movie. So I don't know what to tell you. If you get upset about her not having weapon storage, I'm not sure what to tell you. The trigger finger does fit nicely into into the trigger guard here on this blaster. Mine's a little warped out of the packaging, but that's nothing that some hot water can't fix. We'll get her into a pose here real quick. Another thing I'm really loving about this hood piece is because it's like connected to the neck with that little clip system almost, the hood does follow the head very nicely, and I don't have to try and, like some other figures, turn the head inside the hood. That's a really nice piece of engineering there. I hate the traffic cone figures, but when you're just bringing the leg just straight out to the side and you're just in a general standing pose, I think it's still a very nice look here, and I think it looks good. As for our E11 here, we'll get that into the hand. The fingers are very stretchy plastic, so I think you might be able to work the finger into the trigger guard here. It's definitely a stretch, but you know, it's after you work it a little bit, the finger just barely gets into the trigger guard there. But it looks like, I'm gonna see if I can get that iconic pose from the cell block. Yeah, so you can't exactly get the finger to stay in the trigger guard there, but that's not an issue because you are able to get that one really iconic pose. I know that picture is everywhere of Leia holding the E11 in the cell block, blasting the stormtroopers after she takes the blaster from her saviors. So that's awesome, and I really like that you're able to get this pose very easily with this figure. And of course, all my Battlefront fans out there know that Leia is a playable character in Star Wars Battlefront 2 in this specific appearance, and I think honestly she does a really good job of getting in one-legged poses. And however, once you look at the back here, from the front this looks fine, but from the side, it's just, this is where I have a problem with the plastic. It just, again, personal preference. I know a lot of people prefer the plastic over the soft goods. It's all just preference at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, where am I at with this figure? I think this is a really, really good Princess Leia figure. If you don't have one yet in your collection and you want the most iconic look for Princess Leia there is, then this is the one for you. I personally don't really care about them not painting the flesh tone on the legs because I'm not really gonna see it anyway, especially with how most people are gonna pose this figure. It's just like a hidden detail thing. So I personally don't care, but I understand if that's something that bothers you, because A New Hope, it means so much to so many people. You want your figures to be accurate to the media. Again, I think this is worth a pickup. I think this is a really nice figure, and I think it's honestly one of the standouts of this wave. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. If you are an ARC Trooper in my Patreon, you would have seen this review early. If you'd like access to early content, monthly giveaways, and more awesome benefits, you can check out the link in my description here for the Patreon. If you are a fan of the reviews, or if you still just want to support the channel in an above and beyond way, you can also check out my Rancor Battalion channel membership. Gives you access to early reviews. I'll interact with you guys. You can help me vote on what I'm going to review next for the channel, and to get access to that, the link is in the description below for that as well. And there's also links for my Discord and all my social media. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.
Breaking off all units. Fire at will. 1-2, pick your targets. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. Gotta hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. I'm hit. Where's our reinforcements?